What's up, guys? Solo, a Star Wars movie. Reactions from the premiere last week. And Bill and Ted 3 is finally gonna happen. Up next on Slic Vic Film Talk. Solo, a Star Wars movie, premiered last week for critics and celebrities who are lucky enough to go. And after the movie, a lot of the critics posted their first reactions on Twitter. Not a review, because I think the embargo lifts this week, I think. But just their first impressions, what they thought of the movie, if, they thought it was any good, without giving any, big reveals or anything about the movie. So I'll read some of the first reactions to some of them. So let's see here. Karen Mullenbaum. She put Alden Ehrenreich as Han totally grew on me, and Donald Glover as Lando was such a delight. But I left the film yearning to see the version that Chris Miller and Phil Lord would have made. All right, for those of you who don't know, Chris Miller and Phil Lord were the original directors who were hired to direct Solo, but were fired after I think 80% of the movie was actually filmed and replaced by Ron Howard. So, yeah, there was a bit of controversy when it came to that, and I'm not even going to get into it right now. But, okay, so, all right. Joel Mears said, wow, just come out of Solo, a Star Wars movie, and can confirm it's kind of a blast. Donald Glover was perfect as expected, but Alden Ehrenreich has swagger to match and spare. All right, so that's pretty solid. Kara Warner said, "Oh, Star Wars fans, you are in for a friggin' treat with Solo. Killer cast, a great adventure, so much fun." All right, so that's pretty solid. Perry Nemiroff from Collider, which I love Collider. I watch it almost every day. There's some fun to be had with Solo, a Star Wars story. Ehrenreich was solid and really enjoyed Glover and Waller-Bridge as L3. But not convinced we needed a young Han Solo movie. Was really hoping for higher stakes, more energy, and depth. Alright, so it was pretty decent. Pretty much what she's saying, that it was good, but just not as complex or deep as she wanted to see in the movie. But alright, I could deal with that. Dennis Zeng from Collider as well said, Solo, a Star Wars story, was mostly a fun adventure, solid performances, but with a predictable story. Never will be one of my favorite Star Wars movies, but I enjoyed enough of it. Alright, so another decent, slight review on it. Jackie Cheng said, got out of Solo, a Star Wars story, and I'm completely floored. This movie seriously holds up. I was on the edge of my seat and had so much fun watching it. Alright, so that was pretty solid too. Alright, so basically what I'm getting from these first reactions is that basically it's a good, fun Star Wars movie, just not as complex of a story or very much as far as depth goes. Not so much of that. Which, you know what, I'm completely fine with. Really, what I want from this movie, I want the least complex Star Wars story I've ever seen. I want the most dumbest, the most fun movie when it comes to Star Wars in this movie. I don't want anything that's going to require my mind to actually think, oh, wow, why did they do this? Or why did the story go that way? I just want the most expected story that all the fans are pretty much expecting to see. I'm going to tell you why, okay? I was at work the other day, and I was wearing my Darth Vader sweater. And a customer comes in, and I was, talking with him for a while, and he said, hey, man, cool sweater. I was like, thanks. He's like, Star Wars fan, huh? I'm like, yeah, you could say that. And then his tone kind of shifted and said, what did you think of The Last Jedi? And I could tell by his demeanor, but just the way he said it and the look in his eyes that I could tell he didn't like The Last Jedi. And a part of me, what I would usually do in this scenario is basically agree with the customer and just go along with it because, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole and whatever. But it was like 11:30 in the morning, and I hadn't eaten my lunch yet. And usually, if I don't eat my lunch by 11:30, I get really grouchy, and he just caught me in a bad time. So when he asked me, I just looked at him and said, "I liked it. Yeah, I liked it." And he's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he stared at me for about 5 seconds and said, "Well, you know what? I'm taking my business someplace else because I refuse to do my business with a Disney Kathleen Kennedy lover. Rotten hell." And he flipped me off and he walked out. See, this is where we're at with the Star Wars fan base now. Okay? It is so toxic that you can't even express your opinion on a movie, on The Last Jedi. I mean, it is so bad. So that's why I'm happy to hear that Solo, for the most part, is just a fun kind of dumb adventure that everyone could basically be happy with. So that's what I'm expecting. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see anything complicated. I don't want to see that in the movie we find out that Chewie's parents, his father was a Wookiee and his mom was a Ewok. I don't want any surprises like that. Nothing like that. Okay? I don't want to see that Chewbacca's real name was actually Chad Baklava, and that's why they call him Chewbacca for short. Nothing like that. I don't want anything that's gonna basically tear down basically the lore of Star Wars. Nothing stupid like that. Okay? And for God's sakes, there has to be in the movie at least once a certain action sequence where Han shoots first. Because if we don't see at least once that he shot first, that's gonna drive the fan base into a spin, and we're gonna hear, "Oh, that's not what his character would do." I mean, what's going on here? Nothing like that. I want predictability. I want to turn my brain off and just enjoy this simple Star Wars movie. That's what I want. Kind of like what the prequels were. The prequels, episode 1, 2, and 3. We basically knew where the story was gonna go, but the acting was pretty much crap. I want to see this just with better acting. If we get that, everything is cream cheese. So let's see what happens. Bill and Ted 3 is finally going to happen. There is a reunion special on E-Weekly magazine, on the cast, and they reunited Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter. And I'm sure that's what started the spark to this. And a couple days ago, it was officially announced that Bill and Ted 3 is really gonna happen. It's official. So I'm happy. I'm a big fan of the Bill and Ted movies, and even though this is gonna take place 27 years later, it's cool. As long as it's a good script and it's pretty much believable what these characters are doing now in present day, I'm totally up for it. And but basically that's the trend now. There's a lot of shows and movies are doing this. Cobra Kai, which I reviewed last week, continues the Karate Kid story, and it does it so well. It's a very well written show. It was amazing. I loved it. And with the Rocky movies, with Creed, Creed was amazing, and they're shooting a sequel to Creed right now. So I'm stoked. I'm really excited for this. And also you gotta love Keanu Reeves, because he's an actor who you could tell just loves what he does. Because to be honest, he doesn't have to go back and do this, and he's one of the ones who's really pushing to do a Bill and Ted 3 for years. But he doesn't have to go back and do this. He's had a very successful career. He's had the Matrix trilogy. He's done Speed. He's done a lot of movies. The John Wick movies now. He does not need to go back and do this, but he's gonna do it because he just loves what he does. So I applaud him for that. I love that. I'm pretty sure Harrison Ford, for example, wasn't easy to bring back as Han Solo for The Force Awakens. I'm pretty sure they had to bribe him to do that. So I like to hear stories like this, and I'm excited for Bill and Ted 3. And yeah, let's see what happens there. And that's about it, guys. Comment below. Let me know what you think of solo Star Wars movie reactions so far. What do you expect from the movie? And let me know what you think of Bill and Ted 3. Do you think it's a good idea for them to film the third movie at this point? I don't know. Let me know. And if you like what you see here, please like, share, and subscribe. And I will be back.